If you're building homes in Chicago, you got 15 homes to go, things aren't going well, you call in a guy with Gotti's leadership skills that can have his crews underneath him.
Just whack a couple subcontractors.
Yeah, whack him. You just get him in line a little bit, right?
If you're having trouble with the city inspector,
He disappeared.
he just disappeared.
Results matter, right?
Yeah.
Put that coffee down.
Creators are leaders. Be careful what kind of leaders you're producing here.
Helen, we're both in sales.
Let me tell you why I sucked as a salesman.
They realized that to be in power, you didn't need guns or money or even numbers. You just needed the will to do what the other guy wouldn't.
I'm not leaving. The show goes on.
Welcome to the Construction Leadership Game Show, where we have construction leaders from across the country compete to share the best ideas and insights. Mr. Mike Barrett, Abhi Singh, Nathan Marsh, welcome to the game show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure to be here, Bradley.
Pleasure's all mine, Abhi.
I'm sure it is.
In this game, there's a very sophisticated scoring system. Would you like to hear how you are awarded points?
Yeah.
Please.
I bet you would. All right, let's talk about you, our esteemed panelists. Mr. Mike Barrett, let's start with you. Briefly describe who you are and how you deliver value to the construction industry.
Yeah, Mike Barrett with Barrett Homes. We're in Chicago, Illinois. We deliver innovative, timeless homes to the market, and we also do a lot of multifamily.
Wonderful. Mr. Abhi Singh.
Thanks, Bradley. My name is Abhi Singh. I'm the founder of LMS Strategies. We're an executive consulting firm focused on helping organizations grow, scale, and lead through organizational design, talent management, and finding new opportunities in new markets.
Abhi, I like that. Well done.
Thank you, Bradley.
Mr. Nathan Marsh.
Hi, I'm Nathan Marsh. I'm with V&M Development in Chicago and also a partner at Studio Realty Group. We build single-family homes and multifamily units on the northwest side of Chicago.
All right. So we're going to dive into our first question. If you had to select your favorite leadership movie of all time, what would it be? And please defend it. Mike Barrett, you're first.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Office Space because it's the antithesis of great leadership. So you're actually learning how to not be an a-hole while managing your people. So Bill Lumbergh, Office Space.
Bill Lumbergh. Now, Mike Barrett, as many people know you as a former employee of mine, were there any similarities between Bill Lumbergh's leadership style in your relationship with me in the early 2000s?
Yes, there were. You actually gave a lot of quizzes and did a lot of micromanaging in your early management days that probably wouldn't translate well today.
I agree. If we can delete a couple points from Mike Barrett for that, but let's continue. Mr. Nathan Marsh, favorite leadership movie and why?
So I was so busy being a successful leader in Chicago that I didn't really think through these questions.
That's fair.
But I'm gonna go with the same movie I always go with, The Shawshank Redemption.
And which leader there?
Andy Dufresne.
Andy Dufresne.
Yeah.
Were there specific leadership traits that you found admirable in Andy Dufresne?
Yeah, I like his style. He's easygoing. He's always observant what's going on, and he quietly leads by example.
He's also willing to crawl through many, many miles of feces for freedom, which is a very admirable leadership trait in itself. Abhi Singh, same question. Favorite leadership movie and why? And feel free to denigrate either of the choices made by your panelists.
Well, I can't argue with Office Space, right? I mean, that's a fantastic movie. Shawshank Redemption, I'm just not even gonna go there.
It does seem like he only watched one movie
It does,
in the past
right?
30 years,
Right.
and it was Shawshank Redemption, and that was the one he had to
I also
select.
watched Forrest Gump, but I didn't think that was a good choice. He doesn't seem like a natural leader.
I agree, but
He was too busy running, so.
right.
Mine would be Animal House. And you think about it, I hope that's a point, because if it's not, fantastic. That's
Continue with the insights. You had me at Animal House.
Animal House.
Defend it.
So you have a group of guys that come together for a common cause, which was probably not the right cause to talk about in today's climate, but they faced success, they faced massive failure, they regrouped, nobody really knew who the leader was. So you think about it, good leadership skills, when you walk into a room, nobody should know who the guy standing out is. They pulled together, they achieved their goals, they all went to have extremely successful careers, and they won their mission.
Would you define your leadership traits closer to maybe Bluto or Otter? Because those are the two characters in Animal House that I think of when I think of you.
Oh, you know, I love you, Bradley. That's so nice. Just because I always have a beer in my hand when we're on market, that doesn't mean anything. Probably neither, honestly.
Niederman?
No, that would be you. I don't want to take your spot.
Fair enough.
I would think the Eric Stratton D. I'm glad to meet you.
Okay. Very well. All right, so let's move on to the second question. If you had to develop your own leadership team, yourself and two historical figures to join you in your executive leadership team, Mr. Nathan Marsh, who would be on your team?
Do these individuals have to be alive or dead? Any particular?
They can be both.
They can be both.
Yes.
All right. So I'm gonna put Warren Buffett on my team.
All right.
Because I feel like I can just have him invest some money and make everything a lot easier.
Sure. Okay.
And then I'm gonna go with an old school guy like George Washington, right? I want to hear more about what he really had in mind with all this stuff we're arguing about today.
All right. So George Washington, Warren Buffett are going to make up your executive team. I like that.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
In addition to investing, I do think Warren Buffett is a very sage man. Have you ever read any of his annual letters that he writes to his shareholders?
No, I don't believe I have.
They're pretty fantastic. He's a really good writer, very clear thinker, so I like it. GW, Warren Buffett.
He also eats a lot of McMuffins.
Yes.
He does.
Yeah, big McMuffin guy.
He's a McMuffin guy. Trivia, I like that. I'll give you a few points for that. Okay. All right, Mike Barrett, let's segue off your McMuffin, Warren Buffett knowledge. Who would fill out your historic figure leadership team?
Yeah, so I'm going to team up my childhood hero. I dressed as this man in 4th grade and recited the Gettysburg Address. So I'm teaming up Abe Lincoln with Phil the Zen Master Jackson.
I didn't see that coming.
I know.
Phil Jackson. Okay.
Phil Jackson, Bulls coach, Lakers coach.
Mike, tell me a little bit more. I didn't see the Phil Jackson reference coming next to Abe Lincoln and you. You're going to be by far the shortest guy of those three. But tell me a little bit more outside of the height why you chose that duo.
Okay, so Abe Lincoln was known for bringing together a lot of different minds in the same room, was able to work with people who didn't like him. So that was why I chose him primarily.
Okay.
Phil Jackson, famous story about how he let Dennis Rodman go to Vegas in the middle of the season for 2 days to blow off steam because he knew how to manage Dennis Rodman. And then he got a great season out of him after that. So I just feel like he's able to manage a lot of different egos and personalities.
I want to come work for you.
How hard is that for you? Because Phil Jackson, I think, embodied this idea specifically with Dennis Rodman there, which is you want to treat everyone fair, but you don't want to treat them all equally, right? You can't allow the entire team to go to Vegas on a random weekend to blow off some steam, which is the nicest, aphorism you could say what for Dennis Rodman did in Vegas,
right?
For sure. Do you struggle with that at all? How do you think about that as a leader? Understanding that different employees and different subcontractors and different folks you have to handle a little bit differently. But yeah, that does mean sometimes you have different standards of behavior that you accept.
Well, I think that's just being able to read people that you're dealing with and being able to know what they need and how to manage them, because you cannot manage everybody the same way. I have different contractors that we work with that have vastly different ideas of how the job should go, when they should get paid. Some of them we might not hear from for 6 months after a job because they just don't manage their business, so we don't hear from them. Other guys we hear from right away. So different people have different needs, and you just got to be able to figure that out.
Yeah. Well said. Mr. Abhi Singh, same question. You're filling out a leadership team. two historic figures can join you, who are they?
Any historic figure.
That's right.
So mine would be John Gotti and Steve Jobs. Pull them together, and you think about it, Steve Jobs was a visionary. He executed, he got things done. Probably not the best of people. John Gotti ran a multi-billion-dollar, slightly criminal organization.
You said slightly? For maybe
he got off a few times.
Friends in our audience who are unfamiliar with the gangster John Gotti, can you share a little bit about his background and why you wanted to be in a close leadership committee with this individual when you can literally select anyone in history, living or dead? Tell us a little bit more about John Gotti.
So John Gotti may or may not have been a mobster in New York throughout the 80s, and may or may not have, not confirmed, okay. Right? So, right. But if you look about it, take away the unethical side of his life. He had a highly structured, highly streamlined organization. He took care of his people. No matter what he did in the public eye, people in the community around him adored him because he took care of people that took care of him, in and outside of his organization. The borough of Queens, they loved him. He took care of children. He took care of ladies whose husbands have passed, or folks who have had some tough life challenges. Now, legally, probably could have made some better choices.
I also believe he also took care of some other people that were inside and outside the organization.
He made the tough decisions on getting rid of people that weren't a benefit to the broader good. So,
Mike, you heard a slightly ridiculous answer from Abhi. Challenge that and maybe tell us how you think about ethics in your own business. And I forgot to award you points before. That was...
You should probably take some away for the criminal.
No, I said get rid of the criminal side of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mike, challenge that a little bit.
Well, I just go back to what you said, that you could have chosen literally anyone in history. I guess if you're saying he's not as bad as we think, then maybe it's a good choice. I'm
pretty sure he's worse. George Washington, Abe Lincoln, you go John Gotti. This is why we have the show. We want differing opinions and insights that are gonna challenge our audience members to think differently.
You have more shows coming up, so I don't want to take all the good people away from some of the other folks coming up.
The giving never ends with Abhi Singh.
I am a giver. But think about it though. Again, take the ethical side of it, because ethics are critical in business. If you're building homes in Chicago, you got 15 homes to go, things aren't going well, you call in a guy with Gotti's leadership skills that could have his crews underneath him.
Just whack a couple subcontractors.
You don't whack him, you just get him in line a little bit, right?
If you're having trouble with a city inspector,
just make him disappear.
He just disappeared.
Results matter, right?
Yeah.
Nathan, do you find that fear is a good motivator or a good influencing tactic from a leadership standpoint in the construction industry?
I feel like it has its place, but it's diminished over the last several years. Yeah, it's a different industry now, in my opinion. It's more professional.
Yes. Speaking of professionalism and this game show, let's move on to the third question here. If your leadership style was an animal, what animal would it be? Abhi, let's start with you. What animal would best represent your leadership style?
Well, tying back, I just wanted to talk about fear. Fear works, but there's a better way. There's a book a friend of mine wrote. You might want to read it. Mine would be an ant. An ant. So ants are small but mighty.
A-N-T or A-U-N-T?
A-N-T.
Okay.
Are you calling my ants an animal? You have a 5'10" Indian lady whooping your ass, Bradley.
This is why we do the show. You don't see these things coming. Carry on, an ant.
So an ant. So small but mighty. They work in great teams together. They execute, they pick up, they know their place in line, but again, nobody knows who the leader is. And one of the things I told teams I had the privilege to lead was, I want everybody to know who you folks are and let them lead from the front. If people know me, there's a problem going on. And the less I can be seen and shine a light on my teams, the better off our organization is, just like an ant.
Like it. Mr. Mike Barrett, if your leadership style was best represented by an animal, what animal would that be?
I'd say a goat, because they're not the biggest, not the loudest, kind of stoic, but also very sturdy, intelligent animals. Also, you can later use this as an acronym to describe yourself.
You have selected a goat. I will give you 1 point. I have no follow-up question whatsoever.
I feel like 5 points at least for that.
Goat. Mr. Nathan Marsh, what animal best represents your leadership style?
I'm going to go with a German Shepherd.
Why?
I feel like I come off as kind of intimidating to a lot of people at first, but once they get to know me, they can figure out I'm a pretty caring guy, pretty easy to get along with, but I can become a protector when I need to be. So I think that's a good one.
I like it. All right. So as we close out this episode of the Construction Leadership Game Show, let's start with Mike. We're going to go right down the line. If there was one message about leadership in the construction industry that you think most deserved to be heard more and acted upon in our industry right now, what would that be?
I would say don't assume that everybody is on the same page as you. Your team needs to be communicated with consistently and in a clear manner. We are dealing with a vast array of different ethnicities, nationalities. Being able to communicate with all of those people effectively will make for a better job.
Well said. Mr. Abhi Singh.
Yeah, so mine's pretty simple. It's not about you. It's about your people. And take care of your people. And, in our roles, we have so much going on. But to me, our number one priority is the quality and the caliber of the people we put on the team. And you can have the greatest organization, you get one of the wrong hires, and you destroy everything. So people matter, focus on people, take care of your people, and develop them so you can help them and their families' dreams come true.
Well said. Mr. Nathan Marsh.
I was going to go down that same path, but I feel like it's kind of redundant.
I get his points then.
Yeah, he gets my points, some of my points. Yeah, so one thing for me, I think in our industry specifically right now is patience. Hearing people out, being patient with new processes, new requirements. I think that's important as we go forward because we're in a changing place, even though what we do is pretty simple. There's a lot of new information and new things coming at us all the time, and I think we need to be more patient with that and the people that we trust to put the parts and pieces together.
Gentlemen, thank you for making time. Thank you for sharing your leadership insights on the Construction Leadership Game Show. Congratulations to Mr. Mike Barrett on winning this episode by a very narrow margin. Congratulations. You obviously beat out Abhi Singh, who referenced John Gotti, of all the human beings who've ever lived to be on his leadership team.
And Steve Jobs.
And Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs did get kind of covered up by the John Gotti reference. We just kind of blew right by him.
It's all perspective.
Yeah, all perspective. This is true. Mr. Nathan Marsh, Abhi Singh, Mike Barrett, thank you.